Welcome back to my YouTube channel called thiekfinwealth. And ladies and gentlemen, this time we are going to see, watch, and learn about why we need capital budgeting and what does really it implies. So we're going to learn and watch it with full concentration. So the first and the foremost thing is that I would like to request you all that please be concentrate and don't skip while watching this capital budgeting topic. And I wish you all that you grab some ideas, some knowledge, and this is just for an eye opener. This is just for an eye opener, so you can make some idea, you can grab some ideas, some knowledge, and gain some accessible bet. So I hope that if you are sincere enough, then you grasp one. I don't think I need to explain about capital budgeting. In case of capital budgeting, it requires that the business, let me write business, undertakes. The business undertakes at the same time evaluation for a big project or a longer period time which involve a big project. Simply in simple words, capital budgeting is a process a business undertakes to evaluate potential major projects, potential major projects, maybe buying land or buying a building or investment, construction of a new plant, as I already mentioned, that construction of a new plant or a big investment in an outside adventure. Example of project that would require capital, any project that would require capital budgeting before they are approved or rejected. That is the main thing, the main idea, the concept of capital budgeting. So we're going to learn here in a few more details about why we need capital budgeting. If you want, you can see from the YouTube itself, just type capital budgeting and you'll get lots of videos explaining about capital budgeting and three methods why you need capital budgeting. In this case, my main aim, my main motivation is that to give you an inside view and to grab some idea, some idea regarding this capital budgeting and why you need capital budgeting. So I'm going to start here. Sorry. Okay. So I'm really sorry for that. So why capital budgeting? Please take a look carefully and watch with full concentration. Why we need capital budgeting? Actually, in this session, we will learn why capital budgeting is made. We're going to learn why capital budgeting is made. Why it's made. We're going to learn why capital budgeting is made. And so, first of all, what is capital budgeting? And first of all, we're going to split this. We're going to split this capital and budget. Okay, capital and budget. We're going to split so that you can understand. Here I focus on long-term assets. I focus on long-term assets. In case of capital budgeting, we focus on long-term assets. And here I'm going to buy or develop long-term assets. Let me say me, or we can say that we're going to buy or develop these long-term assets, right? Let's say we can use it for a longer period of time, and it means you don't or we don't have an intention to sell it immediately. So long-term assets, let's say that we are going to use for a longer period of time, and at the same time we don't have an intention to sell it immediately. Till this point, I think we gain some knowledge regarding this capital budgeting. So in this case, capital budgeting, we require that long-term assets, and uh, we assume that we are going to use it for a longer period of time. So I just put in short form that, and at the same time, we are not going to sell it immediately, and there are no intention of it. And we are going to buy or develop these long-term assets, right? And you are going to use for a longer period of time, and that's going to give you revenue. Since you are going to use it for a longer period of time, in that process, it gives you revenue. In the process, it gives you revenue, and but in the process, you incur some costs. In the process, you incur some costs, some expenditure, and profit you make that helps you invest you have made into the asset. At the same time, make profit too. Right? So let me repeat here. Capital budgeting simply implies that a business undertakes that a huge project or big project, for example, construction of a new plan or construction of new plan or buying a land, buying building, etc. And in the event that in the meantime, before you complete the project, whether the project is accepted or rejected. So why capital budgeting we need that we are concentrated on the long-term assets and which long-term assets we are going to use it for a longer period of time. So in the process that it gives us revenue, at the same time we incur some costs and it gives us profit too at the same time. And we're going to buy or develop and we don't have any intention to sell it immediately. Okay. I'm going to take you to next level so that you can have some ideas, some more knowledge about this capital budgeting. Anyway, you can watch in YouTube and Google. You can search too. But at this time, I'm going to give you a brief idea so that you grab some knowledge and some idea regarding this topic. Let's say that I'm going to purchase a building. Let's say I'm going to purchase a building. Okay, I'm going to purchase a building. The value is this value is how much you say? Let's say 500 million. It costs 500 million, and I want to use it for a longer period of time. First, I have to investigate myself, like whether it is a viable project or from this invest will get any return. So it is a viable project or not? It is a viable project or not? Or it give me some return in the future? That is, I have to investigate myself. I have to do research before building this. I need some sources to buy this building. I need some sources to buy this building. 500 million, it costs that. So I need some sources. Let's say I have my own source equity. I have my own source equity source. Okay, equity source, and I have 200 million in this case. And I'm also going to borrow that's called debt. So equity is 200 million and debt is 300 million. I borrow from some bank. So it's called that I borrowed 300 million. So this 200 and 300 is not a charity fund, okay? This 200 and 300 is not a charity fund or a donation. All comes with an expectation comes with the cost. Let me repeat that this 200 and 300 is not a charity fund or a donation. All comes with an expectation and comes with the cost. So I'm investing 200 million in this building with an expectation of, say, at least 20% return. 20% return from buying this from buying this building. And bankers are investing 300 million with unexpected an expectation of getting interest at least 10%. Bankers also at least 10%. So if I put it, equity shareholders should get 20%. So if we put 220 like that, let's try there. 200 into 20%, that means 40 million. Then lenders do. Lenders given 300 million and should get at least 10%. That means that this project should generate a project at least 70 million. Okay. Lenders 300 into 10%, at least 10%. So 30 million, 40 and 30 million is 70 million. If it generates at least this amount every year, this project is viable project. This project is viable project. But only in the case of that, if it generates at least this amount every year, okay? Every year, it needs every year. So I bought a building for 500 million and I have to source the source of fund for buying this million. I have an equity source 200 million and I lend from the bank. I lend from the bank, call that 300 million. 200 and 300 million is 500 million. And so at least it generates 20%. So 200 into 20%, 40 million. And from the lenders also at least 10%, 300 into 10%, 30, and 14 to 30, 70, with an expectation to raise that every year. So this is a Bible project. Now let's say this, that 500 million is going to generate a sales of say 200 million. Okay. So from this revenue, 200 million, several things have to be shared, say for direct expenses and indirect expenses. Here, building, coal, we got sales here. We get sales 200 million and indirect expenses and direct expenses. It means that this revenue 200 million, several things has to be shared. Say for the direct expenses, indirect expenses, and let's all put together comes from 150 million. Here comes that 150 million. After paying this, we've got 50 million. After paying this, we've got 50 million. This 70 million have to be taken. This 70 million have to be taken. So now profit available is 50 million and expectation is 70 million. This is profit available is 50 million and expectation is 70 million. So actually in this case 50 and 70, this is 70 is expectation and this is profit, so it's not a viable project, not a viable project in this case, in this situation. So let's say this 150 million includes 150 million includes depreciation, say something like 30 million. Okay, here 30 million, since it includes a depreciation. Then if we say that this 150 million expenditure includes depreciation of 30 million, then this 50 million book profits, and if we add this 30 million non-cash items, then it becomes 80 million. This 30 is non-cash items. Non-cash items, and if we add up to 50 and 50, 30 to 80 million, it becomes 80 million. So 80 million is cash profit. This 80 million is cash profit and 70 million is minimum expectation. This 70 million is minimum expectation, right? Then this is going to continue year after year. If it's continue year after year, if it's continue year after year, then this project is said to be viable. 80 million is cash profit and 70 million is minimum expectation. So if it's continue year after year like this, then this project is said to be viable. Right? So I hope that everything is clear and fair, and I hope that my voice is clear and what I'm trying to express also you got it, everything about it. If anything is unclear and if any doubt is there and if you need any explanation more, you can comment and give feedback too. Okay, that's all for this time about capital budgeting, why we need capital budgeting, and what does it imply capital budgeting, and how the project movement and why we need that lenders and the source of funding and the long-term projects and long-term research. So I hope that everything is clear and fair. So let's move. Okay, that's all for this time. Thank you so much for sacrificing your valuable time, and please do continue watch my channel and share it to others and have a good time and enjoy your life. Thank you so much.